Hello everybody and welcome to this video. I'm Julian, a student in 6th year who's passionate about economics and politics, who has decided to study economics after school, and who dreams about working as a diplomat. As well, I do enjoy language learning, and that's why I, with the help of my English teacher, have started working with news and current affairs to continue expanding my English knowledge and to start learning about the world of economics. And now, let's get started. Being in the middle of a sanitary crisis, we find ourselves in a second but not less important disaster, an economic crisis. As Argentinians, and perhaps also as Latin Americans, we are quite used to these situations, but many other societies are not. And, however, we must keep staying alert. It is in this context that today I bring to you Understanding Coronanomics, a presentation I have created to talk about the new economic scenario that we are facing. The content will cover very different ideas, from the global picture to the future of our country, including a little bit of economic theory, history, and a brief analysis of our political reality. To start off, it is essential to say that all economies have been affected by this outbreak, and even those we tend to look at as examples of development, the Federal Republic of Germany, the People's Republic of China, or even the United States of America, which has just seen its unemployment rate get to almost 15%, a record since the Great Depression. Undoubtedly, developing countries like ours are hit even harder, but the fact that we are used to high unemployment, inflation, and poverty rates may make us remain indifferent. Argentina has, as many of you know, historically relied on money issuance, sometimes just as much as countries in war, without taking part in any of them. Even when Germany learned a lesson almost 100 years ago, when people would burn banknotes to stay warm rather than buy stuff with them, Argentina has remained an addict to money printing, which has always led to high or even very high inflation, thus resulting in unemployment and poverty. But what's actually the link between money issuance and inflation? Well, the prestigious economist and Nobel winner Milton Friedman once said that higher quantities of money in circulation without more goods or services, which is to say value, to back them, would result in a loss of value and an increase in prices. He's mostly known for his phrase, "Inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon." Applying his logic to our reality, we find only answers. Periods of higher public spending, and thus of higher money issuance, have always resulted in higher inflation rates sooner or later. While more spending could sound well, meaning more can be invested on social security and state aid, those areas have never been likely to generate higher value or profit. Therefore, inflation grows, and it becomes harder and harder to create value, while already existing value diminishes. At the same time, the negotiations with our creditors, especially the IMF, are at a critical point, with payment conditions almost expired and the possibility of going into default, which would signify even less investment and a fragile credibility to ask for new loans. Additionally, well-known economists such as Cavallo, Kachanowski, and Boggiano affirm we could face a period of hyperinflation in the short or middle term. Businesses have it especially hard in this occasion, dealing with high costs while running out of reserves, and most of them being unable to work. Just as an additional fact, I tell you that not a single car has been produced in the country in April. Facing historically low levels of demand, producers still have to deal with services and taxes by themselves, since not much help has been offered by the state, and those who receive it are just a few. Retailers who are able to operate also find themselves in trouble, and, more specifically, faced with a paradox. Since the government has set fixed prices for goods while inflation keeps rising, they only have two possibilities: selling at higher prices, which will eventually lead to the closing of their stores by state agencies, or respecting fixed prices, which are sometimes lower than costs, meaning they could go bankrupt. As a way to fight this difficult situation, zero-interest loans have been implemented, but not only their conditions are strict, but also businesses will end up repaying less in terms of value, given inflation is expected at 40 to 60% this year. Thus, the state would find itself in an even worse fiscal situation than it is today, while, as I said before, we could be hit by hyperinflation as soon as in 2021 or 2022. In this scenario of uneasiness, it is entrepreneurs who will, as usual, build a path to a more stable reality, to growth and to evolution, no matter how much or how little support they get. But what do you think about all of this? Let me know in the poll I have left in the description below. Thanks for watching, I hope you liked it.